Hi, I'm Crofty. You're listening to the Cut to the Race podcast. It's lights out and away we go.
Hello and welcome to the Cut to the Race podcast. We are back with another special guest today. But before I introduce him, we have Callum. You're back. How are you?
I am. I've had a weekend off. I'm back for this very special guest. I've taken time out of my weekend to come back and do it, so I'm looking forward to it.
I think he's taken time out of his weekend, actually. Michael, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Very excited about this one. This is a
big one.
Yeah.
And we have Matt from across the pond. How are you?
I'm doing great, and you can tell Callum's excited. Not only did he take time out of his weekend, he's taken some hair out of his weekend too. He's got all dolled up.
Yes, he has. And anyway, let's move on to our special guest today by the name of Bernd Mayländer. How are you, sir?
Yes, first of all, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be in your podcast. So it's really looking forward. Yes, I'm fine. I had also a weekend off after two races in 2 weeks. Nice to be back home. But I said already before, when you have a small private talk, I have two little kids at home with 3.4 years old. So I have to say, it's even a hard work if you stay at home. And it's a great thing, definitely. But it's under these conditions in the moment, it's very tricky. But now we're looking forward for one very special race, Monaco next week. So we'll see how it works.
I was really excited when we were arranging this interview and we were doing it just before Monaco. I was thinking, yes, perfect timing. For our listeners who don't know who you are, if there are any, can you explain yourself in one sentence for us, please?
In one sentence? Well, it's a long story. I'm already I get 50 years old in 2 weeks, so I can tell you a lot of stories, by the way. My name is Bernd Mayländer. I'm looking Formula One. They know me from the safety car. I'm the official FIA Formula One safety car driver. By the way, not only Formula One, I also do the support races with F2, F3, Porsche, whatever is going on, and they're using the official safety cars. So I'm the man behind the steering wheel. To coming back, my racing career. So I was a race driver. I drove DTM for Mercedes, Porsche, long distance races, Le Mans, 24 hours Nürburgring, what we won in 2000. So many races, different categories. And the best thing was to get a job in Formula One, because you can do this without limited by age. So I'm still in the safety car with 50 years.
And still at the front as well. So for our listeners who might not understand how the safety car driving works, are you in every single safety car race, or do you alternate?
Well, I have always someone with me in the safety car. I get guided by race control. So race control, it's my, let's say not my backup, because I get all instruction from race control for sure. My co-driver, Richard Darker, who is based, or he's coming close from Birmingham. He's working also for the FIA. He's the guy who controls more or less everything inside the car. We can listening to race control. We get the instruction from race control when we have to deploy, when we have to go back to the pit lane. We reporting to race control because we are live on track, so we can see a little bit more than race control. They have a lot of cameras, but sometimes you need the feeling what's going on, let's say, on the special conditions. If it's raining like hell, they can't feel the aquaplaning in race control. I can feel it in my car. So reporting things like this. But it's always the decision, it's done by race control, what's going on. We don't have this many information. We have a lot of information, but in the end, it's up to race control, to my race director, to Michael Masi, and to his guy who is sitting next to him, that's Colin Haywood. He's an observer. So there are really good experience about that. So that's a teamwork, I can say, a proper teamwork that makes a lot of fun. and it's a really high professional thing what's going on there. So it's like in an airplane cockpit, 4 eyes, 4 ears. They see more. Well, he has no steering wheel, my co-driver, but quite lucky. So I'm the boss behind the steering wheel, and yeah, I mean, we've been doing this since many years, so it's a proper teamwork.
So obviously you are one of the most respected men on the track when you're there. So you've said it's ultimately down to race control to make the decisions, but how much does your voice influence the safety and the decisions compared to, let's say, the drivers who might say, oh, it's fine to race, and you're saying no.
Yeah, well, yeah, I because I've been racing before. I would say exactly the same. If I'm behind a safety car, let's say we have rainy Sunday, red conditions on the track. For sure, if I'm behind a safety car from a racing car driver's point, I have a perfect visibility. There's no spray or not that much spray behind the safety car. So I would say by radio, gentlemen, let's race. I'm ready to go. But if you listen to the, let's say, to the 10th place or to the last place, they can't see anything anymore because of the spray. And you have to find the balance. So I understand completely when drivers said, well, the safety car, let's say the safety car is too slow. They don't know why I'm not driving flat out in that moment, because we're waiting maybe for a car who is 10 seconds behind the last car, still not behind the last car, the second last car. And so we have to pack them together, and they don't know that. I know that because I can see this on a GPS map. I get this information by radio. So we get a lot of things we have to put to manage this all together, that nearly everyone is happy. For sure, from the race driver side, I can understand when they sometimes, if they're explaining, oh, the safety car is too slow, or let's start, we have a good visibility. That's normal. That's a normal human thing. And but then it's up to race control. Race control is also listening to all the team, to all the drivers by radio, and they can mix this up to on a safe way. And usually if I say on radio, let's say, okay, no aquaplaning anymore, from my point, it's okay, let's race. And then race control, they usually put always 1 or 2 laps on top to be even more safe. So that's risk management, and we always try to stay on the absolutely safe side.
That's really interesting.
So on your typical day, you're not listening to what the drivers are saying. You are the driver. You are the driver that Michael has out there getting all the information. So do you listen to mainly the communications coming from race control, or are you driving those communications to set the day forward, if you will, once you go out?
Well, it's a mix for sure. The main point, safety car standby, safety car deploy, that's guided by race control. But from that moment on, you try to organize yourself, so you know where's the accident. You will get the information if there's a lot of debris, like in Imola was a lot of debris on the track when George Russell and Valtteri Bottas, when they crashed before turn 2. Yeah, turn 2. So we get this information, and then we reporting, okay, there's even carbon fiber debris, if there's just grass. And for sure, we also report that there is grass. And that's a mix. So we gave race control the information. Race control gives the information to the marshals. They try to clean it as quick as possible. So it's a really Michael is listening. Michael Masi, the race director, he's listening to us, and he makes the decision in the background to organize the things as fast as possible. So they know what they have to do, and we know what we have to report. And you have to put this together in really small words. So you can't tell them a big story, whatever. Try to answer it as short as possible. Bring it on the point, and don't tell a too big story, because they have also to communicate to other peoples. Sometimes they have to communicate to the medical car if there's a big one, when the medical car is also to deploy. So sometimes it's also good to be quiet. Just lead the guys around the track. Wait until you get a radio call. Don't ask too many things. For sure, important things, yeah, you have to ask. But yeah, and after 20 years or 22 years already, you know how to handle this situation. And for sure, every safety car deployment, it's a new thing. That's also why I always say in my job, it's always the same, but it isn't. It's always something a little bit different, and that's what makes me still, after 22 years, nervous when I'm on the grid before the race.
That's brilliant. It's nice to know that you still get nervous as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, it's that what is my thrill. Yeah, that's what I want to feel. That's why I'm still in the safety car.
So what do you do while you're waiting during the race? Say, for example, it's a quiet race. Lewis is out front doing his thing, and and there's nothing at all. It's a quiet one. What do you do to pass the time?
Well, we have two screens inside. One screen, it's a big iPad. No, we have two iPads this year. Sorry, in the Aston. So on one iPad we have the GPS mapping, where we can see the track by a map. We can see all the points with the starting numbers. So we know for sure. We know all the drivers. The leader has a different color. The last one has a different color. And we also can see if there's an impact. So we get the GPS data from the impact, so we can see if it's a small one or if it's a big one. We can see the yellow zone, so we know even before you at home, because this picture, it's usually 3-4 seconds. The live is 3-4 seconds behind the real live signal. So on this GPS map, you can see it really one-to-one. And on the other screen, usually we have the live feed, so because we follow the race. And my co-driver is English, so I'm always put my money on German drivers, and he's putting this always on Lewis. So don't tell me I lost a lot of money the last 8 years. So yeah, that's a normal communication. And for sure, sometimes you follow the race. You're checking sometimes the radio. If it's really, let's say, half an hour quiet on the radio, you make a radio check. To be honest, sometimes maybe if you get a WhatsApp on your phone, you just look to the WhatsApp, things like that. But I have to say, this year we had a lot of good races so far. Well, still the season, it's very young, but it's a good fight this year. And so we're following the race. Yeah, that's why I'm there. So I have seen all the races the last 22 years.
So a lot of people might think that the safety car goes quite slowly when it's out on track, mainly because Lewis Hamilton's always coming over the radio saying the safety car needs to speed up, man. Can you just explain to the listeners how fast you're actually going and how close to the limit of that car you actually are? Because to me, it looks like you're going very fast.
Well, it's sometimes different situations. Let's say for sure in Imola, on the area of where was the accident, so turn 2, we drove very slow because we have to find, first of all, we have to find a way to going through all the debris what was on around the track. And I try to show the drivers that sometimes first, second gear, very slow, 40, 60 kph, just in this area. And after that, I try to speed up. That doesn't mean in Imola it wasn't flat out, but it's I would say in my safety car, depends which safety car I use. So we have this year two different colors, so I think we will talk about this a little bit later on. I'm going, let's say, from 100%, but so my qualifying lap, I would say I go usually 90%. So that's up to the speed. Azerbaijan is the quickest straight, so we're going up there more than 260. And if I look in my mirrors, I see them racing. You know, the cars that just try to keep the tires warm. If I do this with 260 on a road track, I think that doesn't work. Imola was in the end was a quite nice situation because I drove nearly flat out, so I've also good fun. But sometimes if race control say, Bernd, slow down, we have some lap cars, they will passing you. I'm not going flat out on the straight. Let's say I lift by 200. That's quick enough for the F1 drivers. They can keep the tires warm on the straights, braking areas, and around corners. I have to drive flat out because the speed difference from a road car, what's both safety cars, they are 100% road cars. It's so amazing, you can't believe. Just for example, Spa, Eau Rouge, I think everyone knows this corner or this part of the track. Yeah. I'm driving down the hill to Eau Rouge with round about 240. I shift up into sixth gear, I think. I have to brake, I have to downshift. Entering Eau Rouge with around about 170. On the exit, it's maybe 175 or 180. A Formula One car is going to Eau Rouge with 305 and entering Eau Rouge with 310. It's flat out for them.
That's crazy.
I have to brake because my car, the weight of my car, it's 1,800 kilos with fuel, with my co-driver, with myself. Formula One car, it's 850 kilos, something like that. So completely different cars. Still the safety car, it's very quick. It's a super nice sports car, but we have to use road tires and not slick tires. That's also a very big point for that, because with slick tires, we usually need some heater so that we have no cold slicks when we're going on the track. Sometimes you just deploy for one lap, so it makes not really sense. And it's a safety car, it's not a race car.
Okay, so you're out there sometimes during the harshest of racing conditions, obviously for safety, but how do you make sure that you don't spin it? And what's the pressure like of making sure you don't spin it with 20,000 horsepower sitting behind you?
Well, sometimes I have bad dreams about that. That's really that should be the worst case. If I spin or go to the gravel or even have a bigger accident. But in theory, that's absolutely real. So it can happen because sometimes you're really driving on the limit, especially in the wet conditions. You're the first car, you pass the aquaplaning area maybe first time. I had this situation in Shanghai a couple of years ago when Sebastian Vettel was behind me, that time in the Red Bull. So I was really lucky just to do the right thing. That was I don't want to say that I'm such that was done by purpose. It was just luck that the car came back in the end. So you have to stay on the safe side. You never win a race, you never get the jacket flagged, you never get a trophy. You have to know what's your job, and that's why you have to stay on the, let's say, on the safe side. Yeah. And I don't want to give all the journalists an interview after I crash the safety car. I think I will be in person not the happiest man to give up.
So it's not even pride, it's just self-preservation, not having to deal with the press at that point.
What?
So it's not even pride, it's just not wanting to deal with the press and deal with the questions at that point if it were to ever go wrong.
Absolutely. I think I would go straight to the hotel or somewhere else, or maybe to my car driving home, not entering the paddock anymore. But you have to try to stay on the safe side. Yeah. Next week, Monte Carlo, it's absolutely a circuit for that, especially under rain conditions. Even in Monte Carlo, you're driving up to the casino with around about 210. So also in the safety car. And if you start to spin with a 1.8 or 1,800 kilo heavy car, that will be a big one. So better stay safe.
You get obviously you get called out during the worst moments, obviously for racing fans, when we see huge incidents. It's not your job, obviously, to attend them. and as we understand it, you have a different radio channel to the medical car. How does it make you feel, not knowing what's going on if someone's injured, but yet having to keep your concentration on the driving? And how do you manage that?
Well, I think you have to focus on that what you have to do, because I still have many drivers behind me to protect them, to show them what they have to do. In the last years, when we had a big accident, it was always shown by if the medical car has to deploy, and if there's a proper big one, maybe that the driver is not getting out immediately, we will show red flag. That's what we have done the last years. And that's good, because everyone gets protected by themselves. They can go back to the pit lane. In the past, we parked on the start-finish line. Since a couple of years, we're going back into the pit lane. I think that's good for everyone, not to pass an incident area with a big crash. And also, it's a good protection by yourself. And I think that was absolutely the right way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get the information. Let's say if we have a big one, and we get the information from the medical car, drivers, okay, let's say if the accident looks bigger than it is, we get very quickly information.
That's good.
But that's what's happened with the drivers, yeah. So that's very, very important for us, yeah. Because it's a kind of a bad feeling for everyone, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can say, when I haven't seen the accident from Romain Grosjean, because we just deployed from our parking position 1, and we've been on the way back to our standard parking position, where it's usually end of the pit lane. And then we saw just red flag. So, okay, red flag, that means, okay, let's drive down the pit lane, park there, and let's see what's happening. And the live fee, the worldwide fee, was already off.
Yeah.
They shown up what's happened there, and I realized something is burning. I saw some flames and things, and yeah, so I didn't really know what was going on. And I think that in this moment it was good.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah. But you have to handle this. This is a part of your job, and for sure this is not the nice part, but you have to work with.
Yeah.
And does that stem from your time and experience as the safety car driver, or is that the racer in you coming back out? Because you have to have that same mental perseverance and toughness to know that those things can happen and to continue on. So do you think you've learned more that resilience as a safety car driver or as a racer?
I would say everyone who is really involved in that, it's a difficult thing to handle this. Yeah, some people they are still quite relaxed on that. I think that's a really personal thing. I'm really bad on that, I have to say. I try to go a little backwards, just find myself, and to handle this kind of things, talking to my wife, things like that, and luckily with Romain, he was okay. Well, yeah, he had bird hand, but also I was really happy when I get this information this morning that he's on pole position. What I said, hey, fantastic, great, really congratulations to get back in such a way. I'm really happy for Romain that he can do a test day in France with Mercedes. So that's really positive things that keeps someone who is really in a lucky situation to come back in a way like that. That's great, and that helps everyone, I think, who is close to people. They take a lot of risk.
So obviously Formula One travels all over the world, and we see new circuits coming in and out all the time. So for example, next year we've got Miami, new street circuit. Obviously that's new for the drivers and new for yourself. How much time do you actually get to practice that circuit before the drivers do? Because obviously you have to know that circuit just as well as they do.
That's true. Well, mostly the drivers, they're driving the simulators. all the tracks. Well, I'm really bad. I'm 50 years old and I'm really bad on computer games. In simulators as well. I think I was once in a simulator, that was already 10 years ago or something like that. And I decided to arrive 2 days earlier, make some track walks, track runs, driving around slowly with the safety car. And but the really good thing is I have a track test usually on Thursday before the race weekend. So I have 1 hour time to check the cars, to learn the tracks. I know Miami already by some maps, because I'm working also for the FIA in the Circuit Commission. So we're talking about this circuit already since nearly 1.5 years. I have seen the layouts, the first layouts until the last layout. So that helps a little bit, but practically the best thing is just to drive around, because sometimes if you walk around, you said, oh, okay, yeah, this corner like this, and then you realize, shit, is this quick? That's what's happened last year. And Mugello, I know Mugello from racing, from testing a lot in the old DTM times. And I haven't been there for more than 10 years. And then I drove around and said, wait, I didn't expect that it's that quick.
Is Miami going to be good? How's it looking?
Yeah, Miami looks really good. It's a nice complex. A lot of quick corners, tricky corners. I think also the facility around the stadium, it's really cool there. So I'm really looking forward. And I like Florida. I've been raced there a couple of times in Daytona and Homestead. So it's a really good place, and it's important to have more than only one race in US, because it's a great country. It's I hope everything will be fine for next year, and then let's rock and roll there.
Mm-hmm. So this year is very different compared to other years, because as you've mentioned, we have a new safety car. So we have one red and one green. For our listeners that aren't as familiar with the sport, there is one Aston Martin in green and there is a red Mercedes. You've obviously been driving the Mercedes for most of your time, I believe. Which one's your favourite this year?
Oh, it's a tricky question. No, first of all, I have to say to the safety car, it was quite funny. When I get this job in '99 for Formula 3000, when Charlie Whiting asked me, and that was one learning year in '99 already with a Mercedes, it was a CLK55, and then in 2000 when I started in Formula One, it was a CL55, so big coupe. S-Class, you could nearly say, not that sporty. And then we went on and on, always Mercedes. Then we get the first Gullwing car in 2010, I guess. I think it was 2010. So it was a proper sports car. And then we get the GTS, now the GTR. So really sporty road cars developed for racetracks. And we had a racetrack, or we are always on racetracks. That's really nice. And then I heard some rumors been going on already last year. Mercedes and AMG, they're not continuing to do this in Formula One anymore with the safety car and medical cars. And then let's say end of the season, they joined another brand, Aston Martin, for Formula One officially by a team for the 2021 season, and also they will supply the safety medical cars. And then they said, okay, well, let's share this job by 50-50 more or less with Aston Martin and AMG. And then AMG was also back in the safety car family, what helps both brands. And I've been racing for Mercedes and for AMG for many years. I work a lot for AMG. In the driving academy and things like that. And for me, this was the perfect situation, because to work with two brands like Aston Martin and AMG, it's phenomenal. I just can say that. For sure, AMG is a much bigger company than Aston, but the brand, it's fantastic. I know from the James Bond movies, the DB5, all these cars. I know the DBX Star, the new medical car. It's a great car. So it's a nice brand, and the company is doing a really good job. The safety car, the Vantage, the Aston Martin Vantage, it's a great car. It was the first time that I was driving Aston Martin. They have done a good job to bring this car as a safety car on the track, and it's not as quick as the AMG GT R, but that's absolutely okay. It's between 3 and 4 seconds slower, let's say, on a track with 5 kilometers length, but we have 80 horsepower less in the Aston. The basics are the same engine, but because the Aston, they're using also an AMG engine, but with 80 horsepower, no, 70 horsepower less. It's for sure you feel this on the straight. You're not that quick, but around corners and the Aston is a little bit smaller, so it's a quite nice car. I'm happy. The Formula One is happy, FIA is happy, so everyone is happy. And I have to say, I have two great brands, two great cars to drive around the track. In Monaco, we're using the Aston Martin. So I'm really looking forward to drive with Aston in Monaco. Maybe I stop at the casino. Because usually James Bond have done this all the time.
So in Monaco, in the Aston Martin, are you going to have a tuxedo under your race suit?
Let's see. But now what I really can say, it's great to have Aston in Monaco, because I have done this for many times with AMG. I know how to drive AMG around in Monaco, and now it's Aston on the track. So I think it's also a new feeling for me. So I'm really looking forward for that.
I spoke to my dad earlier, and I was explaining that we were talking to you, and he had one question, so I've got to ask it whilst we're talking about Merc and Aston. Which one have you got parked outside of your house?
In the moment, I don't have an Aston in front of my house, but to be fair, I would say if I could buy now a Aston, I would go for the DBX, because it's a great car. I showed this picture. It was maybe not the best idea to show the DBX to my wife. I said, "Oh, that's a nice car."
Brilliant.
And but it's really, we have two kids. They are too small. They're not taking care about the car, and we have a big dog. I think this car is too small for you. So let's see what will happen in the future. But no, to be honest, it's really a nice. Both are nice cars. So one the sports car, and also the other brands are really cool what they have. So big company with I think I really hope for also with a good future.
Are you hoping that Mercedes or Aston Martin comes out with a very fast 4-door, so you could possibly get a test drive in before you bring that home to the wife for the next purchase?
Yeah, let's see if that happens. But to be honest, I don't know exactly what's the plan for Aston, which car they want to bring on the market. I know DBX in the moment. It's the newest car. They still are working with the Vantage for sure, and then they have some special limited editions. All cars are really nice looking, so it's really unbelievable. So I have to be careful not to talk a little too much about Aston Martin. Maybe I will get a phone call from Mercedes after that. No.
With you having the opportunity to drive these incredible machines, that's your company car, are these two. Do you almost get disappointed when you don't get a chance to put some time in the office on a Sunday and go out there and just hang it out and go for it?
Yeah, for sure. It's always. I was also really happy when we had the first race in Bahrain, when we had the Aston there. So we tested there already 2 weeks before. And the Aston people, or the whole team from the safety car, they was really looking forward for the race. And let's say I was happy in the end to deploy and to show the car, to do a couple of laps, because that's the moment what everyone was waiting for. And without that, it would be maybe a little bit disappointed. So it was nice to show up the car. I also have to say, let's see if I'm deploying next week for a couple of laps. Should be great. To show the car, hopefully nothing big happens, but usually in Monaco, it's always one of the races where we get deployed. And that's always, sometimes it doesn't matter if I'm not deploying and have let's say a boring Sunday afternoon, but if you can go out for 3-4 laps, that's okay. So
speaking of,
I put the cars all together. So it's a new nice restart. Sometimes it's good for us.
Speaking of you being deployed, what's been the most memorable time that you've been deployed?
Oh, there are many things. Many times when I get deployed, for sure. Things when you already know before the start of the race that we will have a safety car start in Spa and Fuji in 2007, where we did more than 30 laps. Montreal.
God, I remember that. Yeah.
It was raining like hell. We have to refuel the cars when I just get back into the pits. And then we refuel the car. I drove down to my parking position, and I get already the next call because Alonso and Hamilton, they crashed. And at McLaren at that time, and I did another 11 laps or whatever. So this was great memories. But I think now with the new things what we usually doing, we will show red flag and we stop the race.
Yeah.
But sometimes you never know. Montreal, 2011. When we have the longest Formula One race ever, I had a piece of cake in race control because I said, I don't sit in the car anymore because I go now to race control. I went up to race control and said, hi, Charlie. I heard that you have some cakes up here, so I'm getting hungry.
Brilliant.
He said, why are you not in the safety car? I said, well,
that's brilliant.
Control, I think race control is the safest place ever. And if I'm here, I will get all the information what I need so I can walk back to the car when we get the restart.
That's up there with Kimi disappearing and having an ice cream.
Yeah, correct. And usually we are just talking about Formula One, but also in the support races we have many times this kind of situations. Yeah, so everyone, a lot of friends, they ask me, so what was your best remember? So we had great remembers when we get deployed. I remember when Charlie told me a safety car deployed and what's happened because we get no information. And then we had a fan in Silverstone was crossing the track. Maybe if you remember 2000.
Yes, I do remember that.
2, 3, something like this. And then in Germany, he was also on the track again. I said, what? I can't believe. That's moment, but you always remember these kind of things. But usually it's always good moments.
That's good.
So we do a little segment on the podcast. Well, I do a little segment on the podcast called the Motorsport Time Machine. And basically, I'm going to offer you the chance to choose to go anywhere in history, to go into any motorsport at any time. So, for example, this week I'm feeling a little bit spicy, so I want to go to Le Mans 66 and drive the Ford GT40 alongside Ken Miles. If you could go anywhere at any time and drive anything, where would you go and why?
Oh, that's a very special question because I'm more the touring car and sports car guy. I would say I would go back one more time to the Nürburgring in 2000 at Nordschleife for the 24-hour race and drive with the same teammates again the same race because this was 24 hours. To have always a good feeling. So because this was phenomenal, I have to say. What the whole team, what we put together, and we knew if we don't crash or if we have. Also, for sure, you always need luck. But a long distance race, it's something very special for me, because the preparation for such a race, it's like for a whole season. And if you really put everything together, it's a great job from the team, from the drivers, and also that's not the best parties afterwards, after the race. So that's a big. If you win a 24-hour race and you can still, you're not falling in sleep in the evening on Sunday night. I tell you, to celebrate such a victory with a team, that's fantastic. That's even, I would say, better than if you win a race in Formula One. We had some parties in the past on Sunday nights, but usually because you have 20 races or even more, and for a 24-hour race, you do this once per year at the same place, and that's something very, very special. Yeah.
I think that we all know the Nordschleife and just how difficult that track is and all the nuances that are around that track. How grueling was it to be part of the 24 hours, and how good was it to know that you were coming away a winner of that?
Well, it was fantastic. It was already when they came up with the project, and I was racing in '99 and 2000 for Porsche for many races in the Mans, Nürburgring. I did the 24-hour race from 92, 93, 94. 91 to 94, yeah. And then 2000. Not in '99 because, to be honest, I don't know why. Maybe I had no budget. And then they came up with this project with a new Porsche RSR factory car by a really good Phoenix team from the Nürburgring. They're usually also in sports cars and touring cars. Quite popular team. I know all of them. And then also the drivers, I knew all of them. I've been racing with them in the team or against. So the project altogether was something very special. And we knew driver-wise, we are perfect. So all the drivers, they've been quite good on the Nordschleife. We know the team behind us, they have the power. We get the full support of Porsche. So we knew it in the beginning, if we handle this in the right way, and that was always my dream, to win the race up there. It's right now in the modern time, it's a little bit different because you have more cars or more quick cars, but at that time you just have to bring it back home, and that was for me phenomenal to get this chance with this team. I never get the chance again, and we've done it, and that was, I have to say, also one of my special and biggest moment in my life, because I started to drive up there at the Nordschleife. So I teach myself in 89 and 90, and then to win 10 years later, it's something very, very special.
So while we're on about endurance, can you explain the 100,000 miles endurance record? How did that come about? That's amazing.
That's absolutely amazing. So when Mercedes called me, Bernd, we have a very special project. It's the 100,000 miles. We will break the record. It's with a lot of drivers. We had 3 cars. So all 3 cars been running on the same track. That was a big oval in close to the Mexican border. Lando, what's the name? Alado, I think. And that was a fantastic program because to doing 100,000 miles in, I don't know how many days we need, I think 28, something like that, running 24/7 with a team. We've been always teams. So we did 24 hours and then we stopped. We get back to the hotel, we slept, and coming back 2 days later. And then the other drivers have been driving. So the car was always driving. And he was always driving around about 228 to 230 kph, but not on an autopilot. So that was not the plan. So you have to handle this, and you have to go exactly. It was a diesel record. So just to make this high speed on a track. Without falling in sleep, don't crash it, because you had no chance to change, let's say, if you have a cooling problem, you can't change anything. This by the FIA, this is not allowed. So you have to bring the car back without anything damaged.
That's unreal.
That's really unreal.
That's really impressive.
And you had to learn this. So in the nights, in the evenings, the snakes getting up into the oval. So that means, okay, snake is not a problem if you hit a snake. But if you hit a snake, the big birds coming as well. And if you hit a bird with 230 kph, your car is crashed. So you have to think about so many things. Yeah, and it was also, you get bored. If you're just driving 230 kph all the time, it's like you're driving 50 miles in the city. Yeah? Oh no, I think that's not allowed. 50 kph in the city. That's the right.
Yeah, don't do that in England.
It's incredible. I thought I drove a lot, but I did 50,000 miles last year, and we're talking about 100,000 over, what was it, 28 days. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and we broke all the records, up from 10,000 miles up to 100,000 miles. We broke all the records, and it's a huge, big investment for a company to break these records. And then we said, okay, we have to send 3 cars on the track, because that one car get crashed was nearly the chance of 100%. Not get crashed by an accident, even more that you hit something what's on the track. And we had some spotter around the track, especially in the night. They've been really looking for animals that you get safe around the track, because it was quite tough. It was something completely different in my life that I have done. But to have a world record like that, it's something special. Good fun, indeed.
I would not want to be a bird in the way of Bernd Mayländer, I tell you that much. You've had such an extensive career in motorsport. What are you most proud of?
Well, yeah, for sure. You're always looking to the big numbers. What you have won? For me, one very important step was, and to get real professional drivers in '94 when I won the Porsche National Championship, the Porsche Carrera Cup in '94, because I get also Driver of the Year. I get a contract, or Mercedes called me, Bernd, we're looking for a young driver, for a German young driver for the German Touring Car Championship. And to make this step, this was something very special. Unluckily, end of '96, the championship died. So that was DTM ITC, so they crashed, so they stopped, what was not really nice. But then with the new generation of the GT cars, of the GT1 cars, that was a fantastic thing, I have to say. And for sure, when I won in '97 at the A1 ring, at that time, that was the Red Bull ring, together with Dan Schneider and Klaus Ludwig on the car. You're always looking for the big ones. And if you win a World Championship race, that's always something special. Coming back on Porsche in '99, that was great, doing Le Mans with a name like Bob Wollek, who raced there for many, many years. So that was great to get this job. That was also by the FIA. That was one of my biggest moments. 24 hours Nürburgring, what we have spoken before. That was a great thing for me. 2001, after my accident, what I had on my right heel, when I broke the right heel on a private accident, to coming back in the race car and then to win the last DTM race in Hockenheim. That's all things what you're looking for, what you're really proud of to get, but also personal things. That's really important for me to get in contact with people. They're very popular, let's say, in motor racing, to work together with them, just to have a chat with them. That's always great, and that's even for me even more important than to win races after, because now I'm retired more or less, but now to looking to this, it's something very special.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say this interview has been very special. Looking at the emphasis you have on safety, are there any technological innovations in safety that have impressed you, or may have even had you worried they would put you out of a job uh, in F1 that you sit back and go, that's an impressive technology, and I wish there was more of that or that had come around sooner?
Well, yeah, for sure. You always say, why is this not coming sooner? If you talk about a halo, if you're talking about, when I look to old pictures in the GT1 car without the hand system, yeah, had the neck support system, you think, wow, you've been racing like that? I can't believe. And yeah, but we felt safe at that time. We didn't know that our hands can save your life, because for sure we always knew if you have an accident, your neck, it's one of the really special areas. You can break your neck, you're dead, yeah, more or less. And then with this generation, had the neck support with the halo system. What came up? When was it? I think 2015, something like this. I'm not really sure. Halo, it's a fantastic thing. When I saw the first time the car, oh no, that looks not fine. Now you won't see any car without, because it protects you. If you see the accident from Romain last year, without that, he will be not with us anymore. If you look to all the chassis technique, to the helmet technique after Felipe Massa's accident in Budapest with the screw, the helmet gets so good, so comfortable, so safe. Yeah, I have a brand new helmet over there compared to my old one. It's also on that side. You think, well, fuck, I can't believe that I was feeling safe on the old one. But that's fantastic. I do also a lot of historical things, so Millimilia, things like that from Mercedes. If you sit in a Mercedes 300 SL Galvin car without a seatbelt and you're racing, or you're driving on some roads up to 160, 180, somehow I have to say, no, I feel safe. I think I had everything under control. But if you have a crash, believe me, ooh, that's the other point. So I think we are on a really good way, safety-wise, also racetrack-wise, and for sure we never will stop for that, to try to make motorsport even more safe. But you have to work very carefully to do the right steps in the right direction.
Okay,
yeah,
so to wrap up, one last question. Who is going to win this year? Is it Max or is it Lewis? Who's your money on, Bernd?
Well, in the moment, if you really analyze everything on what's happened now this year with the new technical rules, aerodynamic and floor technique, I think that my impression is that Mercedes lost from last year to this year. You could see it because the Red Bull's been very quick in the beginning. For me, it's not really clear what's happened with Valtteri in the moment, because the gap between Valtteri and Lewis, it's for me a little bit too much. So I think we still have to wait for a couple more races to see really what's the better car. From the strategy, Red Bull has done a few mistakes from my point. So, but still, it's the championship is completely open. But in the moment, Mercedes brings all the time everything on the point together with Lewis Hamilton, and that's why Lewis is 8-time world champion. So is he 8 times?
Not yet,
No.
but I'm so happy you said that. Yes, yes.
No, 7 times. Sorry, yeah. That's why he is 7 times world champion, and he really did phenomenal things this year, and that's why he is so good. You can be a fan or not, but sport-wise, you really have to accept that. And if you're really looking how he's handling, how fair he is handling all the things, that's really for me a big point, and that's very to understand the sport in the right way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's interesting. Callum must have let you go the wrong way in the motorsport time machine just then. So thank you for your future prediction. I'm with you on that. And most of all, thank you for spending your weekend with us, your time off, and thank you to the FIA for allowing this to go ahead. What are you going to do this afternoon with your kids then?
Well, I think they will coming back in the next half an hour. Well, then Saturday evening, it's not that much going on anymore. So we will have a nice beer afterwards, a nice dinner together, and maybe watching a little bit of football because still our championship is still going on, and just relaxing. Yeah, tomorrow we'll have a nice day. Weather forecast looks good, so going for a doggy walk with the family together and enjoying a Sunday before the race weekend in Monaco.
Very nice. That sounds lovely. Well, I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'm sure, like all of us and all of our listeners, we can't wait to see you in that green machine in Monaco next week. So, thank you very much, and great talking to you.
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Whenever you need me, let me know I'm there.
Oh, I will take you up on that, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness me! Oh God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out. He's dead. Jenson Button wins.
Hi, I'm Louise Goodman, and you're listening to the fantastic Cut to the Race podcast.
Hello, my name is Bernd Mayländer, and you're listening to the Formula Nerds podcast.
Hi, I'm Rosanna Tennant, and you are listening to the incredible Cut to the Race podcast.
Hi, I'm Jordan King, and you're listening to the Formula Nerds podcast.
Hi, I'm Crofty. You're listening to the Cut to the Race podcast. It's lights out and away we go!